Hi there, I'm Yvette Thompson and I am the Director of Development for SimonSays Entertainment. And I've decided to make this series of videos because in the process that we have a formal submissions process for new plays and screenplays to be submitted to us. And I'm getting lots of questions about that process. So I thought I would demystify it for everyone. Basically, we're looking at projects that are genre projects right now, that are thriller, psychological thriller, horror, sci-fi. Right? Our past roster of projects, Night Catches Us, Blue Caprice, Gun Hill Road, they are all coming of age, drama, family drama. We've covered that world. Now we're looking at the untold stories amongst genre writing. And the reason that we have a formal process is, one, we have a really tiny office, but two, I think that the questions that you have to answer in the submissions process helps an artist to start thinking about what it is they've created and the best way to sell it. Because if you haven't thought about these questions, have you pre-sold the project? Where do you envision the project premiering? Where do you envision the project being distributed? Where do you envision what theater do you envision your play or your screenplay to begin its journey? Are you going to go straight to video, right? If it's a play, are you going to go straight to the regions before Broadway? The questions that we ask in our submissions process help you, the artist, to really learn how to sell what it is that you've written, which is something you're going to have to do to get people excited about it and help you produce it. But also, for us on our end, we're looking for some specific things. And it's a quicker, more efficient way for us to evaluate if we can really serve the needs of the project. And we ask for things like budget, at least the first page. These things are important. And there's a release at the end of the submissions process, which protects you and protects us, right? Basically, it says that if we read your project, right, we can't share it with anyone else, which is key in our industry. And often we get partial submissions, half submissions, and that tells me, as a professional, if you can't follow the directions on a simple submissions process, how are we going to work together, right? So the other part of it is it's time effective, right? If I've read a script, that doesn't tell me if we're a good fit to produce the project, right? There are particular things that we're looking for in terms of budget. If you look at our other films, they've all been 90 minutes or less. They've also been about 90 pages, right? 2 or 3 main characters, right? We look at stories that are character driven, not tons of cast people in locations, single location, 2 or 3 location. We make independent narrative that tells a simple story. If it's a play, a good play. If it's epic, 115 pages, right? If it's a 2 or 3-hander, 100 pages, right? That tells you about time length, and these are things that producers think about. The length of the show. That's important in the marketing. Is there going to be an intermission? Is there not? Those are questions for the theater. And the really important piece is, has your work been developed? And we get scripts all the time that are the first and the second draft. And you have to remember, we're producers. You don't want to show a producer your first or second draft. We specifically ask for, in our submissions process, that the scripts be production ready. So when I get a submission and the question is what festivals or where has the piece been workshopped, and there is a response, no workshops at all, that says to me I'm reading a developmental script. And we're not in the business of reading developmental scripts right now to produce. We certainly will look at developmental scripts if you're interested in our private coaching and consulting to help you shape a project or a script. But in terms of the submissions, we are looking for projects that have a baseline budget that in particular has had some development at some prestigious theater festivals, your producer or their co-writer has lots of experience. We're looking for the cachet of the project. We're looking to see that the project has been taken through the ropes already, right? And we can shop it to people and ask them for millions of dollars, right? We can put a lookbook together and approach famous actors and say, do you want to be in this project? We're not going to pay you any money because it's independent film. So if your script doesn't look like that, there's nothing we can do with that, right? It needs development. I know this sounds miraculous and people in film are like, oh, well, I just wrote it, I just threw it. It needs development. It needs eyes. And it needs eyes by people who've done what you want to do. Professionals, people who are truly in the game. And the great part about workshopping at Say to Sundance or Tribeca is that the people who are helping you and giving dramaturgical notes in that lab process are also going to be the people when you submit it to Sundance a couple of years from now will have been like, oh yeah, I was a dramaturg on this in its incubatory stages. I feel a part of the journey, right? It builds relationships. And the more relationships you have, the easier it is to get your project made. We also look at the team. Everybody that's on the team were attached to the project. What else have they worked on? Where did they go to school? Who did they study with? Who have they been an assistant writer, an assistant director for? That tells me you have training. And without training, there's nothing I can do for you. Like, films cost too much money to take that kind of risk. Not only that, somebody with a degree from UCLA or NYU Film School has a set of resources in their back pocket. They are respected in our industry. It will be a lot easier to raise money. It will be a lot easier to attach people like movie stars or a very experienced editor or cinematographer. You want a team that has cachet. Somebody's got to have it. Everybody can't be a first or second time writer. Like, everybody on the team, this can't be their second bout with filmmaking. We look for a team with a certain level of cachet. And we also look for projects that have hard money already attached. We have done projects from the ground up, like Night Catches Us before. And we're not actually doing the producing on this site anymore. We're providing finishing funds. We are coming in with the last bit of funds for a project that's pretty far along, at least in pre-production. We're looking for projects that are on their way to getting made, right? Not developmental projects. And not to say that developmental projects are not a great idea. They are great. There's tons of producers, that's what they do. They massage a script and get it in shape. We don't have the manpower for that. We'd like to support the stories that haven't been told, that need to be told, and are in a position in terms of their package where they're definitely going to be told. That's a risk we're willing to take. I mean, basically nobody makes money off of independent films. The gratification is in getting the work out there that wouldn't be seen otherwise, right? So we're looking for scripts that have a package that is most likely to get this story told. So those are things to think about, right, when you're looking at that submissions process. And we don't consider scripts that haven't gone through that submissions process. And as you're going through the questions about budget, about attachments, about team, right, put it in the application. Don't just hand me a lookbook, right? We're like a 5-person office. We don't have time. We want to look at all the information we're requesting in one place and always include work samples. When I get incomplete submissions, I'm not reading them because I can't make a decision with an incomplete submission. I can't make a decision with an untried director or a new director if you send me no work samples. I don't know enough. And you're doing a pitch meeting with me and telling me about it is not enough, because when we make a deal, I want it on paper, you want it on paper, I'm going to sign a contract, you're going to sign a contract. What you say and what's in that contract are two different things. And I like the paper. So If you want us to read your project, take a look at the submissions process today. It's on SimonSaysEntertainment.com. Click on submissions, go through those questions. And even if you never send us your script, you should be able to answer those questions for yourself. If you really want a project that's in the game, you should be able to answer those questions. And if you can't, go off, answer them, take a year or two, take 6 months, and then come back to us. I promise you, if you submit to us, we will give it our consideration. And if it's a good fit, you don't have to worry about looking for us. We'll look for you. We'll find you. I want to thank you for your time today. And please post questions on the blog. We'll certainly respond. Take care.